Sunday morning in Kurmin Wali was supposed to be like any other day of worship. Families gathered at churches throughout this remote community in Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State. Their voices lifted in prayer and praise. But what unfolded next would become one of the most horrific mass abductions in Nigeria's recent history, with church leaders reporting that 172 worshippers were kidnapped, though 9 later escaped, leaving 163 still missing. The heavily armed assailants struck during ongoing worship services, firing sporadically and forcing congregants into the surrounding bush. According to security sources, the attackers arrived at approximately 11:25 a.m., targeting the Evangelical Church Winning All, ECWA, and Cherubim and Seraphim Church with sophisticated weapons. A Catholic church was also reportedly attacked during Mass, demonstrating the coordinated nature of this assault on multiple Christian congregations. The sheer scale of this attack becomes even more disturbing when you understand how it unfolded. Witnesses describe how the attackers moved systematically from one church to another, cutting away worshippers in large numbers. One source, whose family members were among those taken, painted a picture of absolute terror. They came during service and started taking people away. Some of those released were elderly and weak, the source revealed. According to preliminary reports, the attackers later released about 10 individuals described as vulnerable, including elderly persons, while over 100 others remain in captivity. If you are watching this and feeling a sense of déjà vu, you are not alone. Kaduna State has been repeatedly hit by violent attacks involving bandits, kidnappers, and armed groups, despite sustained military operations in the region. The latest abduction comes barely weeks after another deadly assault in southern Kaduna. This isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a disturbing pattern that has left communities across northern Nigeria living in constant fear. The timing of this attack is particularly significant. On January 3, bandits killed 4 members of the same family during a nighttime attack in Kachia town, near the newly established Federal University of Applied Science. Just days before Sunday's church attacks, 3 pastors, Reverend Idi Buhari, Emmanuel Jacob, and Suleiman Adamu, were kidnapped on January 9th in the Gwagwada area of Chikun local government area while traveling to officiate a wedding ceremony. While those pastors were fortunately rescued by security forces, the latest victims remain in captivity. Local lawmaker Usman Danla Mistingo, representing the area at the state parliament, provided updated figures. As of yesterday, 177 people were missing and 11 came back, so we have 168 still missing. These numbers, while staggering, represent real people, mothers, fathers, children, torn from their families during what should have been a peaceful Sunday service. What makes this situation even more challenging is the geography of the area. A police spokesperson noted that the area was remote and difficult to reach due to bad roads, making it challenging to obtain reliable information in the immediate aftermath of such attacks. Kurmin Wali is described as a remote forested area with challenging terrain, which has made immediate access to the scene difficult for security forces. This isolation isn't accidental. These criminal groups deliberately target communities where help is far away and escape routes are plentiful. The human cost of Nigeria's security crisis extends far beyond these latest victims. According to Open Doors' 2024 World Watch List, more than 4,100 Christians were abducted across Nigeria in the previous year, accounting for the highest number recorded globally. Think about that for a moment. Nigeria leads the world in Christian abductions. If this resonates with you, please hit that like button to help spread awareness about this crisis. This wave of violence isn't limited to Kaduna alone. Such attacks are common in Nigeria, Africa's most populous country, where multiple gangs and religious armed groups attack remote communities with limited security and government presence. The northern region of the country has been hit hardest. From mass school kidnappings to attacks on farming communities, the pattern is clear and devastating. The twin developments of mass abductions in the northwest and internal disciplinary action within the military following a deadly insurgent attack in the northeast have renewed concerns about public safety, transparency, and accountability in Nigeria's ongoing war against violent criminal groups. The government's response has been criticized as inadequate, with many questioning whether authorities have the will or capacity to protect vulnerable communities. As families wait anxiously for news of their loved ones, local authorities and security agencies have been notified, but as of the time of filing reports, no official statement had been issued confirming the exact number of abducted worshippers or the status of rescue operations. Police said troops and other security agencies had been deployed to the area and that efforts were underway to track the abductors and rescue the captives. What we're witnessing in Kaduna is not just a security failure, it's a humanitarian catastrophe unfolding in real time. These aren't statistics, they are human beings whose only crime was gathering to worship. The fact that over 150 people can be taken from multiple churches in broad daylight speaks to the brazen nature of these criminal groups and the vulnerability of rural communities. While security agencies insist investigations and operations are ongoing, critics argue that persistent violence, mass kidnappings, and secrecy surrounding military casualties continue to erode public confidence, especially as civilians and soldiers alike remain vulnerable across multiple regions. The question remains, how many more Sunday services will turn into nightmares before meaningful action is taken? If you believe stories like this need to be told, please subscribe to this channel. Your support helps ensure that these voices are not forgotten and that pressure remains on authorities to act. The people of Kurmin Wali and countless other communities across Nigeria deserve better than living in perpetual fear. They deserve the basic human right to worship in peace, to farm their lands without terror, and to raise their children in safety. As this story continues to develop, one thing is certain: the world cannot afford to look away from what's happening in Nigeria. The mass abduction of worshippers from their churches represents not just an attack on individuals, but an assault on fundamental human freedoms. The victims of Sunday's attack join thousands of others waiting for rescue, for justice, and for a Nigeria where going to church doesn't mean risking your life.